Hello and welcome along to the channel, and we're talking about these, no, not lightsabers. They are electrically assisted hydraulic boot struts for the Volvo XC60. Now in a previous video you've seen me replace both of these on my XC60, but the boot's not worked right. And I'm going to look a bit more into it and hopefully try to work out what's wrong, and then I'll tell you whether we can fix this at home. So let's take a look. So what are we talking about? Well, on my Volvo XC60, it's a 2012, I have these boot struts, and they, I believe there's a hydraulic action inside like a regular boot strut, but it's also got an electrical motor and of course a connector on the end that connects to the boot electronics module. And what this allows is electric lift and electric close of the boot. Now in a previous video, I'll put a link at the bottom, I replaced these because they were drooping. Now I think that's because of the hydraulic component getting weak like any other boot. However, after replacing them, you'll see my boot has never quite worked the same, and it is really quite frustrating. Let me show you. First of all, releasing with the key fob. That's it. That's as much as we get, and you then have to manually lift the boot. It will never go any higher, even on automatic assist. And now for closing, if I press the button to close it, you can see it almost immediately emergency stops, and in quite a lot of instances will bounce back open again. Now I believe this is the emergency mechanism where it believes something is trapped and is not allowing it to shut. If I put a little bit of downward force on it, it does tend to continue. You can see it goes very slowly, but it'll typically never close completely. What I tend to do is to close my boot is push down on it and force it shut like that, and you can imagine that is very frustrating, especially when it's raining. Both struts look the same. They've both been replaced, by the way. They have the same connectors on them, and from what I could tell, the same part numbers, modules and everything. However, there is clearly a difference. You can see how annoying this is. Every time, in every car park, in every shopping centre that I ever go to, I have this game. I've lived with this for quite a while, and it is really frustrating, and it's continually got on my nerves. So I thought, okay, what can we do to solve it? First of all, trying general diagnostic tools. Now, as you know, I'm a big fan of my CarSoft diagnostic scanner that can do all sorts, DPF regens, injector coding, airbag SRS systems, that kind of thing. However, it can't access Volvo specific modules like the boot mechanism or anything like that. So that's out. That can't do any sort of recalibration, programming or anything like that, which means we've got to use Volvo's software. Now, as it happens, this is a 2012 model, which means the older Volvo VIDA software will do the job, which is good. To do that, we need, first of all, the Volvo VIDA software, and second of all, we need a compatible adapter. Now those are called the mongoose cable. That's one of the types. Or the other type is Volvo DICE, D-I-C-E, which is the more expensive but genuine Volvo cable. Now, you can pick up both of these on eBay, so I thought I would take a chance, and I have ordered one of the Volvo cables. I'll show you which one I've got. This is the cable I've got. It's the JLR Mongoose cable. So you can see it's got the standard OBD, and on the other end it has USB, and it also came with the download of the Volvo VIDA software. Now obviously this is not genuine software, it is made compatible and it allows it to work with this, so this is not genuine. I'm not going to advocate using this kind of software because it is not genuine. However, it's worth me trying and seeing what we get out of the car with this. Hopefully it can talk to it, and I can show you a little bit of what I did. I've got the cable plugged into the OBD port, which is down there, and I've got the USB plugged into my laptop. Okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to choose my cable, make sure it's connected. And I should now be able to choose read vehicle. And it'll use the cable to retrieve information from the car, and then we can continue into diagnostics. So there we go. It's picked up the car and all of the settings, so I can OK that. Right hand drive, body style, it's not a taxi, it's OK that. And now what I can do is I can go across to diagnostics. By the way, I'm still learning this software, so it's very, very extensive, and I'm not a genius on it at all. And I can update, which means it's going to pull the latest information from the car, and you can see now it's going to communicate with all the different modules. This takes a few minutes as it talks to everything on the car, and then we can take a look and see what faults we've got, and then look at what reprogramming we can do for the boot. After a couple of minutes it comes back with this screen, and you can see it's picked up all the information about my car, which is really quite interesting. So all the different settings and what it's got enabled, what it hasn't got enabled, all that kind of thing. So that was under details. Here we can see the network. You can see all the different computers and connections that we've got now. The one I'm interested in this time is this one back here, the POT, the power operated tailgate module. And you can see from here we can pull up all sorts of information about it. I can click view information and it'll give me details on each of these modules. Just wait for this to load. Now you can see information about the signal, the connectors, what they do going into that module. All pretty extensive stuff and quite good for being able to trace faults. So that's the informational section. You can see there's a bit of diagnostic information in here. Location of components, power operated. Let's have a look at the location, because that's a useful thing to find out. If I remember rightly, it's in the boot lid upper section, so let's see if it shows where it is. And there you go, you can see the different components of it. There's our module itself. Sorry, not module, the actual power lift motor. And you can see a list of the information: left motor, hall sensors, right motor, hall sensor. So that means that they're all built in to the motor module itself, which is exactly what I suspected. It's all built into that module. And now what we can do is we can go back and go into the fault trace and diagnostic part of it. And this bit is where we can pull the fault codes and we can see the fault with the power tailgate module. If I click on power operate tailgate, and see we've got various lights showing faults all over the place, which some of these are expected. Right turn indicator, left turn indicator, that's because I replaced the indicators in the side view mirrors, so that's expected. ECM wake up, I think that's just because I've got a low battery at the minute. Air quality sensor. But this one, position sensor 2 algorithm based failures, and you can see related: tailgate hard to close, tailgate hard to open, automatic does not work. This is what I'm expecting, and that's on the power tailgate. So I think I can double click on it. Here we go. Power tailgate position sensor signal incorrect, and you can see here this is the problem. So it is throwing out a fault. Now it's saying possible problem: signal cable from the hall sensor as a fault, open circuit, damaged sensor, operation blocked mechanically, or damaged motors. This all points to needing to reprogram it. And now we go in and I can choose this. We can see the fault, and you can see there's a few actions here: checking closing, checking lock, checking opening. Now I think if I double click on these, I can then go into the programming function, and now we can see what functions we have under vehicle communication. And from here what I can do is I can read data. I can read data from hall sensors, I can read data from the signals. And you can see this is all giving me data about the device. And if I go into advanced, these are the programming functions I've got. And the only options I've got is activation, which means I can manually trigger the boot open and close. And the other option is reset the maximum opening angle. I don't have any other reprogramming functions reset or allowing me to modify the current settings. Now if I go into reset the position, you can see here I can carry this out, which is to reset the learned values of the maximum opening and closing angle. And there we go. Now we're into controlling and programming. Please close the tailgate. Okay, it's closed. Press start. We wait to see what it does. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press open. Okay, the boot triggered, but as usual, it didn't go anywhere. I'll go around to the back of the car. You can see all it's done is pop the boot. So I'm going to lift it to take it to its maximum height. And go back, and what's the software saying? The software saying resetting done. I don't believe it, because I don't think it's done anything. So let's try closing it. No. Same as usual. Let me close it. It is going slowly, but it's bouncing again. I'm going to force it shut now. So you can see that's done nothing to help us. So there you go, that is the problem. You can see I cannot solve it myself. And this is on a 2012 Volvo. This problem is getting worse and worse. Obviously, newer and newer cars need more and more sophisticated software, and it's dealership only software as well. It's software that either only the dealer can use, get hold of, or because it talks to their master servers, has to be programmed individually for the car. And that is going to become more and more of a problem, first of all for independent garages, because independent garages won't be able to solve this, and second of all for the home repairer, because this is changing a couple of boot struts. It's not a major component, and these do wear out. And that to me is going to be a big problem going forward, and it's going to be something that we encounter more and more on the channel. I'd love to know your opinions. Do pop a comment down the bottom what you think of this situation. Now in terms of my individual problem, what can I do? Well, what I could do is I could take it to a Volvo dealership, and I've then got a choice. I can either tell them exactly what I need, and I'll end up paying for probably about an hour's worth of labour from them to plug in and apply the software update I've requested. No guarantee of whether that'll solve it or not. The second option is I take it into the dealership, don't tell them anything other than the boot doesn't work. The boot doesn't open and close properly. Now I suspect the first thing they'll do is clear the codes, and they'll get exactly the same problem back as I do. I think they will then replace the boot struts. They will then go through the programming procedure, and the Volvo software will tell them to apply the update which will solve it. The only downside to that is that's probably going to be £400 or £500 worth of hardware and diagnostic time. So it's a very expensive solution for what should be a simple boot fix. So what do you think? Do you think this is a big problem going forward? What do you think I should do to solve this one. Which option should I go down? Because what I'll do is whatever option we think is the best, I'll do it and we'll video it and we'll see what happens and how we can get this solved. So there you go. So you'll see it's not an easy fix. I've seen so many forum posts, people have messaged me, texted me, sent me comments on YouTube saying, oh, they just replaced theirs and it was fine. Yes, I suspect those that have done that have already had the updated boot software, tailgate software I should say, updated on their Volvo, and that's why it has just worked. And I think that if mine was the case and mine did have that patch, it would be fine. So yeah, that's why I don't think it'll work on everybody's Volvo. So there you go. I'd love to know comments. Thanks for watching this video. Please make sure you subscribe and I'll see you in the next video.